أشهد أن لا محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن أيام الصلاة. أيام الصلاة. أيام الفلاح. لله. الحمد لله الذي ألف بالإسلام بين قلوب المؤمنين وأوجب اتحادا وحرم تفرقا في كتابه المبين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. عما بعده، فيا عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله تعالى وطاعته. That is, our praise is due to Allah, who united the hearts of the believers with Al-Islam, and He obligated us to remain united, and He forbids that we become separated in His book, which is most high. We witness that none deserves worship except Allah, who's one alone, having no partners, no associates. And we witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is Allah's servant and His messenger. And what follows of that salutation, I advise you as well as I advise myself to fear Allah and thereafter be obedient to Him. Brothers and sisters, as we attempted to remind ourselves, so I say ourselves, I remind you, but I'm speaking also to myself, of the blessing that are concerned with the bitter cold that's coming in this weekend is to make sure our pipes don't burst. That's our concern. Make sure that you cover up your plants and that you make sure your pipes are not at risk. That's a great blessing. Those of you who were here last week, we talked about there are so many people around the world who will be worried about freezing to death under these circumstances, who may be homeless, who may be refugees, who are not enjoying the comforts that we're enjoying. So we are in an extremely blessed position that we only have simple worries about if our pipe burst and what are the implications of that burst. Not to trivialize the reality of that hardship, but just to say there are others who are suffering in a way beyond, well beyond that. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the blessings that He has given us as individuals and in our individual lives. Last week, we began to talk about Baqarah and the soundness of the heart. And we also introduced a conversation about how Baqarah very quickly begins to talk about diseases of the heart. Very quickly. If you read the Quran, if I just start with Al-Fatiha and I begin to read it, we know we come through the 7 ayah of Al-Fatiha, which are called Qur'an. She's called the essence of the book, the mother of the book, that in the 7 ayah of Al-Fatiha contain the meaning, in essence, of the Quran. Then we go into Surah Baqarah, and if we're just reading it, immediately, we are we point to A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alif Lam Mim. And we talked about that just a little bit, depending on which tafsir you read. Even classical scholars. Some classical scholars have explained Alif Lam Mim. They've actually did long dissertations on Alif Lam Mim, what they mean. For so long, our exposure to scholarship may be so limited that we're not able to engage with the wealth of scholarship that has been produced of giving commentary of the Quran over the last 1400 years, and sometimes our dogmatic disposition. Sometimes as Muslims, we think we've come, that we're on the haq, and that's it. We're on the haq now, and anybody else that's not on the haq that I'm on is deviant. And then 10 years later, you realize how far away from the haq you were when you took that disposition 10 years ago. So the richness of scholarship, so this Alif Lam Mim we mentioned last week is an attention getter. All of those explanations are beautiful. Then we talked about ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And as I was going back over my notes preparing for today's Jum'ah, I was reading the tafsir of Jalalain, a classical tafsir of Quran, and it pointed something out that I was aware of, but I thought it would be beneficial to reflect on this week as we move on in this surah. that when it says ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, that the hudal lil muttaqin is the khabar. It is the predicate. It is that which is explaining in grammar, grammatically. Grammatically, in a nominal sentence, you have mubtada wa khabar. Mubtada is the subject, khabar is the predicate that gives information about the subject. Right? La rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin grammatically is giving you a description of the Quran. So I want to stop right there for a second. For if somebody came in the room and they told you, I'm looking for Suleiman, or I'm looking for Salman, or Muhammad. Let's use that, because there's a whole bunch of Muhammads in here. You say, which Muhammad you looking for? I'm looking for Muhammad Abdullah. Well, what does he look like? Tell us about Muhammad. How tall is Muhammad? What color is his eyes? What color is his hair? Because you want description. Understand that the Quran describes itself to you. The Quran is telling you about itself. It's giving you a description of itself so that you will understand what you're about to engage. So you are about to engage this book. There's no doubt. That's a description of it. There's no doubt. For just as surely, if you were to talk about
a life, preserve
right, that's what you observed in me.
from harm.
So that is the book. La rayba fihi. There is no doubt in it. Hudan lil muttaqin. Guidance for those who they guard their relationship with God. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب.
You as an individual
is those who believe in the unseen. And in trying to convey the meaning of this message,
bigger than the community.
The Mufassir said they accept what is hidden from them. For example, the resurrection, the day of judgment, the fire, the paradise, all these things we can't perceive. As a Muslim growing up in America and dealing, coming at it from a perspective of idolatry, before being engaging the richness of the commentary, and for those of you who born and raised Muslim, for you, you're like, this is Aqidah 101, right? But you can't think like that because Allah bless you to be born and raised Muslim. So you have been getting Aqidah from the day you came out the womb. Your parents have been teaching you Aqidah. Your teacher has been teaching you Aqidah. The Imams have been teaching you Aqidah. And I know there are different approaches to creed in the 1400-year richness of commentary in our religion. But those who were dealing with this situation in America, who were coming to Islam, and they were like the unseen, the biggest dawah point is that the Arabs used to worship idols, and Allah is beyond the perception of human. He's beyond the ability of the humankind to perceive. So a big emphasis is that God is beyond human perception. Thus, He is unseen. But the faith we have begins with Amantu Billah. We begin with Allah, but then we go wa malaikatihi, right? And His angels, then kutubi, all this, right? Now, some of these things we can see. We can see. We have on record. We have His books on record. We have His messengers. So some of them we can see, but others we can't see. We can't see his angels even if we perceive the impact of their presence in our lives. We can't see them. Yes, some of the Sahaba on the day of Badr, they were speaking about how they were perceiving the angels. May Allah give them that special blessing that he gave all of those who fought in Badr. Ameen. So yeah, they perceived things, they saw things, they perceived the influence of the angels in a tangible way, but most of us don't. Yet we believe in them, yet we can't see them. We believe in judgment. We believe in qadr. That's nothing you can comment on in Juma. There's been many long discourses about what qadr is and how to understand qadr and what it means and what are the implications of that. But we believe in it. We believe in akhir. We believe in life after death. We believe in the day of judgment. We believe in all of these things. And for many of our beliefs, there are things we cannot see right now, nor can we perceive them right now. There's some we can perceive, but many we can't perceive. So that is الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة, and they establish prayer. One of my teachers was talking about the power of the Quran to touch the soul. And when you first are engaging the Quran, you read verses that touch you emotionally. Because they're emotional verses. Certain verses are emotional. Allah is kind to his servants. That's emotional. Allah is the forgiving and the merciful. That's emotional. But he was also talking about how that the Quran's beauty is deep. And it's so deep, it's beyond what your rational mind would always perceive, would perceive as beautiful. He said it could be a verse on riba, and brothers and sisters crying, tears rolling down their eyes, tears rolling down their face from the beauty of the Quran, from the power of the Quran, and the ability of the Quran to reach in and touch and massage your soul when you're not even perceiving it. So the establishment of Salah doesn't, it goes beyond, it begins with just setting up, praying 5 times a day. That's where it begins. But in this tafsir, Jalalain, they said to maintain prayer is also giving Salah its proper due. Approaching it with the proper disposition, the importance of it. Allah has granted you permission to stand and worship him 5 times a day. You can't go to the mayor of Houston 5 times a day. You can't go to the president of the United States 5 times a day. Now, I've gotten older, so I don't know popular culture the way I used to. But you can't even visit Patrick Mahomes 5 times a day. Yet here Allah, out of his mercy, have given you permission to stand before him 5 times a day. in a special thing designed to cultivate and grow your soul. And he has given you his own words for you to communicate to him with. The more you pray, the more you give yourself to prayer, the more you engage in salah, the more you're going to grow your soul. I mentioned this about a month ago. I was with a group of Muslims one night on the night of power. Qiyamul Layl, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. We don't know. Inshallah it was. We're not sure. But they were seeking it. And when the prayer and the recitation of the Qur'an got real deep, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. Everyone was crying. When I was younger and more, I pray Allah has removed, that he continues to remove arrogance from me. Whatever bit of arrogance is left, I pray he removes it. But when I was younger and less informed, I would have said, "Hey, all crying. They all wasn't crying." But now that I'm older, I realize that my young self was paying attention to the wrong thing, because their prayer was between them and God. And if in that prayer they were moved to tears, I should have been trying to pray heavier and deeper so that perhaps I could have the same experience, instead of looking and trying to judge how sincere their thing, when it was deep to me because they turned the lights off and I wasn't used to that. Like, what is that? And they told me it's for khushu. They said they turned the lights off. Now we don't do that here, so just so you know. But I'm just sharing an experience I had. They said we turned the lights off so that none of us are afraid that we're trying to show off to the person next to us that we can be sincere. Because if the lights on and somebody can see us, then there's a possibility that we could be doing this for riyah, to be seen of other men. So we don't practice that here, but it was humbling to see that that was their disposition. So prayer is one of the most powerful tools that Allah has given us to bring us closer to him. And we should approach prayer with that disposition. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. If this is the description of the muttaqin, Allah is describing what we're all trying to get to. That's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to muttaqin. That's our goal. That's our destiny. That's where we all want to be. We start out Muslim. Then if Allah bless us, we become mu'min. And then in time we become muttaqi. That's the goal. So here Allah is describing the muttaqi. So if Allah says that the Quran is guidance to the muttaqi, then he begins to describe the muttaqi, and he begins yu'minuna bil ghayb, that they believe in what is unseen. Then that's our goal. That's what we're trying to get to. Then while yuqimuna salah, they establish prayer. That's the second description he will give of the muttaqi, tells you how important the salah is. And our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to give even more emphasis on the important, in this presentation, on the importance of salah, I want to quote to you that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first act that the son of Adam will be questioned about on the day of resurrection is his prayer. It's his prayer. That tells you the importance of salah. And the salah will make our hearts sound. The salah will make our hearts soft. And the salah will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can y'all move up? There's people standing at the back, inshallah. So move up, please, inshallah. Let's make room. Let's make room, inshallah. We're almost finished, so move up so those who are at the back, they can find a seat, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. يا عباد الله, may Allah increase our faith. May He help us trust Him. May He remove disbelief and replace it with faith. May Allah remove our distractions, those things that constantly distract us from building our faith and our love for Him, our faith in Him, our love for Him, our love for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah remove those distractions and allow us to focus. May Allah remove our hatred and replace it with love. May Allah remove our rancor and discord and replace it with cooperation. May Allah help us to see the whole Muslim Ummah as one body, such that we feel the pain of any believers who are suffering all across the world. Those who are cold without homes, may Allah bless them with warmth and a place to stay. May Allah bless us and allow us to be grateful, allow us to have gratitude for the great blessings and the special blessings He's given to us, that the things that we worry about are so trivial compared to many other places in the world who are constantly under the threat of bombs, who are constantly under the threat of destruction, who are constantly under the threat of hundreds and thousands of people dying. Oh Allah, protect your servants. Oh Allah, those who have died unjustly, bless them with paradise. Those of us who are still living, give us the strength and the conviction to stand up against injustice whenever and wherever it is perpetrated. And if we do not have the faith to do so, oh Allah, give us the faith and the strength to speak out against it. And if we can't have that faith, oh Allah, never allow us to be comfortable with it. Give us the strength to constantly hate it as much as we can, as long as injustice and people are being killed and maimed and they're dying unjustly. Oh Allah, open the Qur'an to us and open our hearts to the Qur'an. Help us understand the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and apply it in our lives. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. أقيموا الصلاة. أشهد أن محمدا in between you Do not allow Satan to come between our hearts. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Brothers and sisters on your way out, make sure that you be generous donations. Ramadan is coming up. We're going to be offering some very light iftars, not much, just a little bit to eat. So if somebody wants to sponsor iftars during Ramadan, please see me sometime between now and Ramadan and let us know, inshallah. Out front, there's 3 different boxes that you can donate in, plus Brother Omar is out there where you can donate by your card. Join us on Wednesday nights for our Quranic studies courses. Also, join us on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of February at our 2nd annual Resilience Conference, a conference celebrating African American Muslim history. May Allah keep you and your family safe. Salam alaikum.